my wife and I, we run an animal rescue out of our house. So we have 8 animals of our own, and then we always have fosters here. I'm doing my podcast. I always have projects fixing up stuff around the house. I have this, that, the other thing. I'm doing a million things when I'm home. When I'm on the road, I don't. My wife's not there. The animals are not there. My projects are not there, and so I'm able to um, compartmentalize my time differently. And I sleep in every day. That's my agreement with myself, because that's the most important thing I can do right now. I walk. I get my 10,000 steps. I work out. Maybe five times a week, 5, 6 times a week. And then I write and I edit and I do my drives. And then when I'm on stage, it's 15 minutes with the VIPs. It's an hour, yeah, maybe 50 minutes, 50, like 50 minutes for my set. And then it's after the show, taking pictures and signing stuff and hanging out at the merch table.
This is Coop's Comedy Corner. Buckle up because it's funny as Coop's Comedy Corner.
Hello, people. Welcome to Coop's Comedy Corner. We're back this week, and I first want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Laurel Lanes. Laurel Lanes is the ultimate entertainment center. They have 60 lanes of bowling. They have state-of-the-art arcade games. They have a private luxury suite. They have something for everybody, and it's great for corporate events, birthday parties, or just a night out with friends. And on site, they have a great bar. I go to the happy hour a lot. It's called Splits. They have an amazing happy hour every Monday through Friday from 4 to 7. $2.50 domestic. $4 wines, $5 appetizers, and during the month they have special events like they have trivia night, they have beer pong, they have karaoke. It's just a great place to go. And if you want to do a networking event there, and I do monthly, I do cocktails with Cooper, but your first event you do there, they will give 10% back to your charity of choice. And on your way out, don't forget, if you want something sweet, stop at their ice cream place called Lickety Splits. It's a great little
Lickety Splits.
It's great. And they have, no, dude, you would love this thing. They have homemade ice cream, but they have alcohol infused ice cream. Like they have a butter pecan bourbon. Right. So people check out.
I'm in. I want to know what Cooper's cocktail night is. Am I not allowed? I know I'm not allowed to talk during the segment.
Well, no, it's fine. I already did my plug. So people go to Laurel Lane. See, that's my guest, Zane. He's interrupting me because he loves alcohol. We're going to talk about that. Cocktails with Cooper, Zane, is a once a month event I have, and I bring like 70 local business people to just network. So that's what we do. And
that's cool. I like that.
So anyway, people, we have a great show. I met this gentleman years ago in LA. He was my boss.
Gentleman.
He was
Louise.
Dressed as a piece of corn, and I gave out soup, and he ran
it.
And
you weren't a piece of corn. No, you weren't a piece of corn. You were a whole corn.
I was a corn, and
I got a piece of corn would be like a kernel.
I know. I was a corn. I just called myself corn, and I got paid $37.50 an hour. So it's the easiest job I ever had. And I want to.
And this is at least, by the way, 20 years ago.
So now it's like $50 an hour to dress like corn. And people, they would give us this soup, and we would give it out to people. And what's funny is we would go to the farmers markets, and we would trade like these cases of soup. There was one guy, this driver named Tony. I think that was his name. He would
Tony Aronovitz. Yeah. If you watch my special, so Tony Aronovitz, who was my buddy at the time, is now a producer. And I tell this story about how I ended up with Billy Zane's phone number, and then I would drunk text him. So that's part of my new. Well, I wouldn't be doing it any justice because I tell the story in my stand-up. But my buddy is a stunt guy. We got drunk one night. He's like, "Oh, Billy Zane Lamprey, you should have his phone number." And so he gave me his phone number, and I didn't text him. I went home, passed out, but I did text him on New Year's Eve. And the whole exchange I talk about in my special called Medium Club, which just came out. Actually, I have a deal to put it on Amazon Prime, and it will be on Amazon Prime next month. But I let them agree that I could put it on YouTube because I just want people to be able to share it and clip it out and just watch it much more easily than like going to their TV or whatever it is. So anyway, I talk about the story there. So I ended up drunk texting him. It was horrible, big mistake. I woke up the next morning, looked at the text exchange, and said no, and I deleted it. I deleted it from my phone, so I have no way of contacting Billy Zane. And then I had some buddies over. We were like drinking beer up on my fire pit, and my buddy is like, "Yeah, I'm doing this movie with Billy Zane coming up." And I told him the story, and he goes, "Okay, I won't tell Billy Zane that it was you." And then on New Year's Eve, he texted me Billy Zane's contact info, so that I would be tempted again to like drunk text him, which I did not. But I probably will text him. No, not probably. I will definitely. It's the next time I get drunk, I will text him and have him watch my stand-up special, or I'll just tag him in the story and see what he says. Because I follow him now on Instagram, but it's not like we're friends or anything.
Now, the special, I know I saw you on your last tour because you came to that brewery you came to in Cherry Hill is no longer with us. It was Forgotten Boardwalk.
Boardwalk, yeah.
That's gone. But now, did you tape this special on your last tour, or how did the special come about?
You know, it makes me feel the way you're phrasing that you haven't seen the special, Cooper. That's the way it feels to me.
I haven't seen it. I'll be honest.
Of course you haven't seen it. No, you know what? I tried that once to shoot it out on the road, but and I did. By the way, I did shoot it when I did a tour of the Pacific Northwest. I shot it every night for like 8 nights, and then I got back. And I got contacted by the brewery, Breury. They're really kind of the pioneers of like of barrel aging beers. They're kind of the top of the game as far as that's concerned. So they're friends of mine. I did a special at their place like years ago in an event space that they closed down, and I asked them if they wanted to do it again, and they said they couldn't. And then they reached out to me and said, "Hey, we're turning our new barrel room into a hybrid barrel room / event space." And they said, "We'd love for you to be the first event to come down here and do it." And so I went down there. We spent days reorganizing the room and everything. And when you see it, it's pretty stunning. I mean, there's a wall of barrels stacked 5 high, probably 20 long behind me with all these like pendant lights in there. And we front lit, backlit all the barrels. And it was a huge audience. Neil Boble, who was also on that soup thing that you mentioned when you were a carrot or a corn, is that his older brother Bruce has been at all of my my recordings of my specials. So this is the 3rd special I've done in 3 years, which some people think is psychotic, which might be. But every year I'm doing 140 shows at breweries around the country, and I don't want to repeat my material. And so after 140 shows, like 140 hours, 140 attempts, like 140 opportunities to refine the stories, I'm not going to just put them away. I want to memorialize them, capture them, and then the next year I go out, all new stuff. So every time I go on tour, so you saw me 2 years ago, so you haven't even seen the material from the special. You saw it from the previous special. And then next year, or this year rather, when I record my special, which will be the 4th one in 4 years, it'll be all new stuff, because people deserve a new show every time. And it's not just a new show, it's a new approach to a show. The whole feel is different every single time people come. So we have different things. It's fun.
Well, explain your show, because when the people come see you live, because I know when we came, it was so funny. You did the drinking games. My one buddy who was like a financial planner, he's like all uptight, and he got caught. He had to chug the beer, and there's no way in hell he was not going to chug, because we would have been like, me and my other friend would be like, "Oh, you're a pussy, you can't chug it." Yeah, but explain what your show is, because your show it's more than just a comedy show. It's a drinking event.
It really is, So what we do is like. So 7:00, the VIP enter, and they pay a little bit more extra money to get better seats, to get more quicker, or earlier access to beer. And then I come out and I do drinking games with them. So I play 3 drinking games, which are very, very fun for the audience, as well as the person. The first one has a person on stage. The next one involves the whole audience, and the next involves a bunch of people coming up on stage. And they're organized to go from not mellow, but kind of mellow up to exciting. And when the doors open for general admission at 7:30, they walk into like this crazy thing happening on stage, which is fun. I think it was like when you saw it, it was like a team flip cup, and it's exciting because the whole audience is wagering on it, and then it's then everyone from 7:35, 7:40 until 8 o'clock, they stock up on beer, go visit the merch table, meet your neighbors, that kind of thing, and then the show starts. But the show, it's not just like you guys be quiet, I'm doing my stand up. I mean, it is stand up. There is a structure to it, but at several times during the show, I do talk to the audience about things, and I've gotten better at it. I've gotten pretty good at it, at that kind of thing. It's like when you go in there and you watch somebody on stage talking for like, an hour straight, that's great. It can be great. But for me, especially someone with ADHD, it's like, I like the show to be structured with changes. So like, there's a section, it's 7 minutes, that's, story or whatever it is. Then it moves into something else. And there's also some drinking games that happen in the middle. And by the way, it's not like everyone has to drink. And there's no pressure to drink if people don't drink. It's not like I'm going to point at someone and make them drink. As a matter of fact, if someone passes, we move on. I don't want to make, we got designated drivers. We got people who don't drink. I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. It's like, it's the same reason I don't do politics and, stuff like that. I don't make fun of people. If someone is going to jump in and say something, we're going to, we'll have a funny conversation. But my job and my goal is to make sure it is a night where people are just escaping life for a little bit. You know what I mean? Their lives, and just for an hour, 15 minutes, just having fun. I got my opener. I got me, it's a fun time. And, we've done it at this point, I think, as you and I are speaking right now, because I have a few events coming up this weekend, 472 times, and 4 different sets. So we're on our fourth show. And every night we do our drive to the next town, and we talk about it. We say what could be done better, what worked, what didn't work, that kind of thing. And, got it pretty nailed down, but it's always my job to learn to improve, as a comic. And we record every show as well. So I have the advantage of sitting back, watching it, going like, okay, let me do this. That story's too long. This joke could be better, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, it's my life. You know it, that role.
Well, I've got to ask you, okay, your path to where you are now. I remember, and I was thinking about this the other day. I remember me and Neil Boble, who you mentioned, were helping you write in Zane. And it was a show you had. And I still remember you went to a Vallarta's dressed like some goth kid, and you were packing bags. And I remember you told me the whole story, how you sold that car you love to produce that special. Well, the drinking wasn't really a part then. Where was the branch from there to, you've had so many shows about drinking or traveling. What happened from In Zane? And I think Robert Wagner's daughter was the Adam West's daughter.
Yeah.
So what was what was your path?
Well, what happened was so it's funny. I just signed a book deal with Random House because I told them my story, and they're like, okay, that's a book. So we're halfway through that process, or I am halfway through. I'm writing it myself, but of course it's a long story because it's worthy of a book, but it's also a short story as well. It's like, I was out there shooting my own thing. In Zane, that you talked about, was a hidden camera show. And every time I did it, I tried to go bigger and bigger and bigger. So the one that you were involved with was the 4th iteration. I was like, no, I'm bringing in writers. I'm bringing in producers, people to help it. How can make this the best that it can be? And then, that was the same time that Jackass was out, and then Jamie Kennedy came out, and I think people were getting a little bit cooled off to that at the time. And so I cut that into a sizzle reel, a demo tape, a 3-minute version of that half-hour show, and I sent it around town. And usually I wrote a note. I usually lied on the note, said something like, oh, so-and-so said I should send this to you, like somebody that I didn't know. And then ended up at Merv Griffin Entertainment. I had a meeting with Merv God bless him when he was alive. He was awesome. And then we made a show with him. He thought it was too edgy for his brand. You know, he created Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy and things like that, the Merv Griffin show. So he was a more family friendly. I'm a little edgy. And then that didn't go, but we got some great, got a pilot out of it. So then I added that to my sizzle reel. I still try to keep it like 3.5 minutes, just make it as tight as possible. And then I sent it to everybody. This is the ending days of VHS. I sent it to everybody and said, I just shot a show with Merv Griffin. He told me I should send this to you. And, it says, someone's like, oh, Merv Griffin said, I was thinking of me, whatever. I knew it would resonate. It went out to a lot of people, hundreds of people. Only one guy called me on it. And I was like, he's like, you don't know Merv Griffin. I'm like, yeah, I actually do. He might not have said to send it to you, but I know him. Anyway, that was dumb. But I ended up at this production company in Seattle, who I didn't even send it to. They must have gotten it through somebody else. And they wanted me to audition, or they wanted me to come in and talk to them about this, have a meeting for this show called Three Sheets, where I would travel around the world drinking. They liked my sensibility. They wanted to meet me, make sure I wasn't like a nut job. And they found out that of course I am. And then we went out and did that show. But I don't think the amazing thing isn't that I got that show. I've gotten a lot of shows. People have gotten a lot of shows. It's the fact that show just kept going. It worked. It was a perfect synergy of like me and someone who enjoys drinking. But to be very honest with you, I don't have a problem with it. I don't. Like, I can stop. Like, I can get to a point and go, you know what? I got to work tomorrow. We got another thing to do tomorrow. I'm gonna pull back a little bit. So I'll get loose and have fun, but for the most part, keep my composure and just know that I got to keep some in the tank for the next day. Whereas my best friend, Steve McKenna, who was on my other show, Drinking Made Easy for Mark Cuban's channel, he didn't have that switch. He would just drink until the end, until someone like pulled it out of his hand. So that they were kind of lucky, like with Three Sheets, they were lucky that I was able to do it. And to do it every single day. We shot 51 episodes around the country with Three Sheets. Then that network went off the air. And then I had become friends with Mark Cuban. He had a network at the time. And I said, let's make one for your channel. He's like, let's do it. So we made a domestic version where I would travel around the country and drink. That was called Drinking Made Easy. And that was about 60 episodes. And then that network went off the air. And then I did a Kickstarter for a new show called Chug, where it would be international drinking show, because all the networks said no to me. And so I made it and on Kickstarter, raised about $600,000, put all of it into the show, and then made 6 episodes. And then that came out, went to the backers. And then I ended up selling it to National Geographic Channel. And then after it ran its course there, I sold it to Netflix. And then after that was all done, I did another show called Four Sheets for a new network called Drink TV, which ended up going off the air right as we were about to premiere. And so that all comes out on Amazon Prime next month. So it's like I just kind of did something that worked with me. And, it's like, I don't know how advertiser friendly it is because I'm actually drinking. I think alcohol brands would rather sponsor or put their money behind like athletes and actors rather than someone who knows a lot about their product and is actually having, like appreciates it, but also enjoys it. I don't know. It's a weird stigma, right? Like, I'm drinking your product. I'm actually using your product and I know about it and I love it. And like, we'd rather go and sponsor this athlete. That's for us, for some reason, that's a safer choice. But it resonated, but like it worked for me and it worked for the fan base. And now when I'm out there doing my stand-up, I'd say probably 40% of the people there are fans of the shows, have seen my stuff before, but about 60% are new. And, my stand-up isn't just me telling stories about the drinking shows that I've done. It's also, actually nowadays it's not. There's a lot of stuff about like family, my wife, life on the road, whatever. There's some stuff about the shows as well, but I'm being introduced to a whole new audience as a stand-up, which is really what I've been doing full time since June of 2021. Right after the pandemic, I set out to do this.
Now you were also on a Food Network for a while, right?
I had a show on Food Network. It did really well in focus groups. It did really well when it launched, but the network executive that that championed it, that really wanted it, and was a fan of Three Sheets, left right as it was premiering, and the new person, which happens, the new person comes in, and they want to just clean house and start over, and so they aired the show. It did great, but they didn't renew it. So we got probably 12 episodes out of it. But I got to tell you, man, I was doing that year. I probably shot 12 episodes of my Food Network show and 20 episodes of Three Sheets, and that was a lot. I was probably not my healthiest. I was definitely my heaviest. So it was really tough to kind of mitigate that while you're dealing with jet lag and travel, and also food and drink being thrown at you. The best stuff, the best food, the best drinks being thrown at you every single day. So I don't know that could have continued very long. I would have had to make some changes, but it was fun. It was a fun year.
So where were some of your favorite places to visit? Because I know I still remember at one of your shows, I think it was Have Fork Will Travel. You were getting were you in Japan? You were getting the suction.
Yeah, that was in Hong Kong. Yeah, that was a hangover remedy where it's kind of like not really a massage, right? Where they put these suction cups on you. Now that we've seen a lot of it with like athletes and stuff like this, but at this point, I had never seen it. No one I knew had ever seen it. You put suction cups on your back and your muscles, and it pulls the blood to the surface. And then we were also drinking tea at the time. I ended up at the end looked like I was attacked by an octopus. The production company that I worked with did such a good job. And when my wife took over producing for Drinking Made Easy and Chug and Four Sheets, she also did such a good job of vetting these locations to make sure that each episode had its own identity, that we were doing the coolest stuff, but not just like the top 5 things to do, but like, it's like, oh, if there's these 5 bars you have to go to when you're in Manila, the Philippines, it's like, that's not the show. The show is like, what are some unique things we can do? We went out in the jungle where they're making this thing called lambanog. We went out and drank beer with a street vendor. We went to a cocktail bar. We went to a bar that's all run and operated by midgets, little people, called the Hobbit House. So like, every episode has to have like that water cooler moment and have its own identity. So it's I know it's the politician's answer, but I really couldn't tell you a favorite episode. Every single episode we shot was special and fun and unique. It's not like we ever walked away from an episode going, that wasn't great. Every single time we shot an episode, we're like, that might have been the best episode we've ever shot. We said that every single time, because every single time was something new and amazing for us. 72 countries.
Now you're a guy from Syracuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
What brought you to LA? I mean, when you were younger, did you want to perform? What was your path? I mean,
Yeah.
Were you an actor? Were you an athlete? Because I don't know. I know you're a good drinker. You probably won a lot of quarters games back then. But what was your path?
Yes, I was an actor. It's not like drinking was just part of going to college. I did go to Cortland College, which did get rated as the top Division III drinking school in the country by Playboy magazine a few years before I went there. It was a party school. And, another one that my buddy Bert Kreischer went to was like down in Florida. Well, okay, that's obvious because you can, every day is nice out, but in Cortland, upstate New York, every day is not nice. That's another reason to drink, because it's so cold, because it's so miserable. So yeah, I mean, that was just happened to be something I did. I didn't think there was ever going to be a career in it. Geez. But I was an actor as a kid. Then I stopped in middle school, because that's when I started to worry about like people, making fun of me for being, in the theater and all that kind of stuff. So I stopped. And then in the middle of college, I was like, I miss it. I picked it back up. I loved it. I did a bunch of plays and stuff in college. And then I was like, okay, this is it. This is what I'm doing. This is my life. And growing up in that weather, it was either move to New York City or move to Los Angeles. It was not a difficult decision at all. I needed to leave. I needed to leave New York. I needed to leave any chance I had of like, going back home to do laundry or going back home to, you know, go back to the nest or something. I wanted to go on my own, both feet out of the nest and make my mark. So I remember one time I moved out here with a girlfriend and she and I were together for probably 5 years, and towards the ended amicably, but she was like, "How long are you going to give this acting, this comedy thing?" And I was like, "No, this is it. This is it." Because every year I'm going to get better. Every year I'm going to meet more people. Every year I'm going to have more connections, more resources, more perspective on the industry. And so look, it's not easy. I don't know that I'd recommend it to anybody. I mean, it's ups and downs. It's probably more downs, it's a roller coaster, and you got to really be prepared for everything. And you have to make a lot of sacrifices, and it's a lot of luck. It's a lot of luck, but it's also a lot of you creating your own luck. The show that you mentioned in Zane that you helped me on, that was the fourth iteration of that hidden camera show. The first one was unwatchable. The second one was barely watchable. The third one was like, okay, I get it. And then the fourth one was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to bring in the best people, a producer, a director, writers, cast members. I'm going to do this the right way. It's not all on me. I don't want to do it all myself. That was a big lesson to learn. And then it's, again, with the stand-up, like I had an opener, a guy you saw, Nick Jerry. He was opening for me. He did 442 shows with me. And then he's like, "Hey, can we get coffee?" I'm like, when someone says that, you know what it's about, right? It's like a girlfriend saying like, we need to talk. Like, okay, I know what this talk is. But his was just like, look, I'm stepping out of comedy. I got what I need from it. This life isn't for me, being on the road as much and the grind. And so he retired, and he's now doing his own thing. So that's, now I have a new guy, new opener who's tour managing / opening for me. And, he'll do it until he can't handle it anymore.
Now, what was your path of creating in Zane though? Because you said, you told your girlfriend this is it, and a lot of times people look at it because once you're out there, you're in there. But
yeah,
what was your path to coming up with your own idea? Because when I worked with you, it was when you're starting the show and you had that cool car. And I know you told me you sold that car to invest in your show.
Mm-hmm.
But
by the way, that actually is kind of an interesting story. So I had this car called a Defender 90. It was like a British, Jeep. People who know it. People who don't know it, they've seen it. It's this boxy Land Rover. They kind of made a little bit of a resurgence. But it's just the car that I always wanted. I got a deal on it and I bought it. I bought it for $23,500, right? And then it was like slightly used, and I had it, and it was always the car that I wanted. It was really cool. But I was like, you know what? This isn't it. Like, it's driving this car isn't the epitome of my life. Like, I need to earn it. It's like, fake it till you make it kind of a thing. I felt like I was kind of posing. I looked like somebody who had been successful, and I didn't feel that I was. And so I sold it, and I put it on back in these days. I put it on in the LA Times auto section, and I put it in there because they stopped importing these cars. I was able to, I think I listed it for like 37,000 or something, like 35,000. And no, that's not true. 28.5. I remember this. And so I put it in the paper, Sunday paper. I get a call, and this woman calls me and said, I think it was a guy. Guy calls me and says, I want to come. My wife and I want to come check out your car. I'm like, yeah, come over. So they came over and they looked at it. I think they drove it around the block, and they go, all right, we'll take it. Is there room on the price? I go, no, not really. I know I can get 28.5 for it. And so they go, okay. And so the woman went off and to get her checkbook. And I said to the guy, I was like, I don't really feel comfortable taking a check. It's Sunday. I mean, you're going to give me a piece of paper. I'm going to give you my car. Like, I'd rather do this at the bank or, for cash or something. And he goes, oh, don't worry about it. She just directed Shrek. So she directed the movie Shrek. And her name was Victoria Jensen. And so I went upstairs, like, okay, that's fine. I'll get the paperwork. So I sit down at my computer and I look her up. And there's her picture as a director of Shrek. I'm like, all right, her check's good, get all the paperwork, hand it to them. And they drive away in my car. And now I had $28,500 to my name at this point to make this TV show, put all my eggs into one basket and say, let me make it. Let me make this and let me have it be my calling card to show people what I'm capable of doing. I'd just done some hidden camera stuff because it was fun and it was easy to shoot. And I knew how to shoot it as opposed to like sketches or drama or that kind of thing. And I got good at it. And I had some friends that were helping me shoot it. So did it, like I said, and that really was the path that got me everything, my success. It's all these little steps. And if I would not have done that tape, I wouldn't have been the host of Three Sheets or any of these other shows. And so that now I'm at a point right now where I'm like making money and I was like, I want to buy that car back, And so I reached out to Vicky last year, maybe. And I said, hey, I didn't have her number. I reached out, I found her agent. I called her agent and said, can you have her call me? And she called me within 5 minutes. And I said, look, I would love to buy that car back. I know it's not the same price and you tell me what it is, but if you guys are if you feel like you've had it enough, I'd love to take it back. Maybe someday I'll sell it back to you. And she's like, I'm divorced, and he took the car. and she's like, I would take that car too. So it was just kind of funny how the whole thing came full circle. And if I really wanted to find where my car was today, I probably could find it. It was such a beauty. So stupid.
But this show, I mean, what made you decide to create the show? Because most actors, you sat there, most people go to Hollywood, they get an agent, they go to commercial auditions. And this is before all this bullshit now where you can just use a camera and make something. This you have to really put a conscious effort
because this is actually a story in my book. I know it very well because I've had to think about it. I've called the people involved. I've kind of gotten all the details. I'm like, this is how I remember it. This is how you remember it. And so what happened was a buddy of mine from college, his name was Jeremy Maloney. And he was very funny. He was a gymnast and one of my drinking buddies. And I moved out to LA and then he came out here for something. I don't remember what. And so we all went out drinking. And we, this is, before Uber. So we had parked a few blocks away from the bar and we were walking back to our car or cars, or I don't remember who was driving, but all of us. And then we see this homeless guy walking with a shopping cart. And then he starts like doing a skit with it. He like pushes it, gets in it. He's like now riding it across the street and just being like almost putting on a show for us. And we get closer and find out that it's Jeremy. Jeremy had sprinted around the block to get in front of us, kind of pulled his hood up and he was walking funny, so we couldn't tell this him. And we were so entertained by this homeless guy, and we find out that it's Jeremy. And I was like, okay, that's it. I've been looking for something. This is it. Jeremy, you and I, we're going to make a show and we're going to do stuff like this, skits like this. He's like, let's do it. And so he lived in Orlando at the time. So I flew out there. We shot some out there. He flew out here. We shot some out here. And then like I said, the first one was garbage. Then we shot another one and we got better and better. And then at the end, we'd shot 3 and he goes, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I don't know if he was married at the time. I gotta do my other job and whatever it is. And so he's like, but do it on your own. You definitely should keep doing it. I give you my blessing, but I can't do it with you. So, okay. So when I went out and did in Zane, that was it. I had no other resources. I put everything into that show. And then I even redid some of the stunts that worked with him that he would have done. I did them myself. And that was it. and then when I put everything into it and then no one bought it, I go, okay, what else am I good at? I think I started putting some like hosting stuff in there and realized that I was good at that stuff. So I kind of put in some hosting stuff. And again, I had like two reels, a hosting reel and a hidden camera reel. And I just kept making stuff, But it was so much easier to shoot hidden camera stuff. A, because I learned how to do it, but also because it's not like you're trying to shoot like a sitcom or a movie where you need the lighting to be perfect and the audio and all this kind of stuff. The hidden camera, we learned how to do that stuff as opposed to learning how to like shoot the regular stuff, because hidden camera stuff looks the way that it looks. You will forgive the quality of it if the content is amazing. But if you're shooting like a comedy or a sketch thing, you really want it to look and sound top notch. And I hadn't spent resources learning that trade at that point. I know how to do it now, but back then I didn't get that. So hidden camera stuff, it just made sense. It fit what we were trying to do and fit the vibe. And ultimately at the end, it's not what I'm doing. And I'll be very honest with you. I really didn't like it. I didn't like it that much. I hated going out and just pretending to be somebody else. I'd be a horrible spy. I hated lying to people. I hated like having to keep this accent going or this character going for like an hour. I had one called, all the sketches had names, and one was called The Sleeping Jew. And I dressed up as like this Hasidic Jewish guy and went into a mattress store. We did several mattress stores and said, can I take a quick nap? I want to try out your bed. It's great. This is great. And I just sit there and I just snore and I just take we would do it right before closing so that they'd have to come and wake me up. And, just dumb. So yeah, we did every kind of thing that you can imagine. I mean, I probably shot 50 of them, if not 100. And just, again, learned how to do it, got good at it, but I didn't like it. Like I said, I didn't like it. I didn't like making other people that uncomfortable. And that's kind of what that show relied on. I did get an MTV show actually out of it called Damage Control, which I talk about in my second special called Ski Patrol. It was a hidden camera show. I was a member of a cast. They saw that tape and they hired me without even auditioning me. They just saw it, had a quick conversation with me. Rico Martinez, he was the director, and he hired me. And I was the cast member of a sister show to the show Punked. I shot it in New York. We shot it in New York City. And at the end, they ended up taking what was supposed to be an hour and cutting it down to a half hour. It just didn't work as well. And so it didn't go. It didn't get picked up for another network, another season. But I shot a season of it, and it was a pretty amazing experience.
Now, I want to ask you this. You mentioned earlier, you were all in with the Zane. You were all in. You had the money you got from your car. What mentally? What do you go through at that point? I mean, there's got to be anxiousness. There's got to be that, entrepreneur. You talk to entrepreneurs, they wake up in the middle of the night going, what if we lose all our customers? Or what if we don't get customers? Mentally, what were you going through? Because you were a younger guy and it's something, and you have this idea and it's good. But what was functioning in your head?
Well, I think it's on closing the door here because there's vacuuming happening outside. It was, I had someone call me. I think they called me an optimist or something. It's something along those lines. I have to remember what the exact phrase was, and they meant it as an insult. Like, I always think that things are going to work out, and I was like, as opposed to what? As opposed to operating like things are not going to work out. Like, yeah, I'm going to assume that things are going to work out. There's definitely a lesson to be learned with that level of positivity, right? Just like you have to proceed with things thinking that things are going to work out. And when they don't, then I go, okay, what did I learn? How could I do it better? And the name of my book is called Glass Half Full, because that is how I see things. I'm positive. I'm not negative. I like to think that every problem has a solution or has a code that you can crack. And so, yes, look, there's times when things don't work out. I have a big meeting, I have a big audition, I have something that doesn't happen, and I'll get bummed out. And um, but I try to pick back up, if I get knocked down and just kind of figure it out. I think some people run for the hills, both like literally in terms of like leaving Los Angeles or leaving New York or leaving Chicago. And some people are just like, yeah, I can't be in this business anymore. And they just try to find another business that suits their personality, out here. That's why LA has the best realtors and the best bartenders. You know what I mean? And the best producers, because a lot of those people are people that came out here to follow this dream. It didn't work, but there's a lot of money and a lot of opportunity happen out here, and people are figuring out ways to make it work for themselves. So yeah, look, there's definitely been, I've been out here for 29 years, and there's definitely ups and downs. There's definitely years that like not a lot happened, but there's also years where a lot did happen. I try to keep a level of humility to it. I don't believe when people say that I'm awesome, which lets me also not believe when people tell me that I'm not awesome. I'm just me. I'm just going to do what I can do and be the best. And I think that's kind of carried me through.
Well, no, okay. Well, here's a question totally off topic, because I've always wondered, where did Pleopus come from?
So Pleplius is I tell this story in my first special, which is on Amazon Prime, which is called Tender Looks. And I was shooting 3 sheets, and I grabbed this monkey in the airport. I was thinking, leading up to going to shoot the first episode of 3 sheets, and then on the airplane, I was like, I want to make 3 sheets a drinking game. It makes sense. It's really the first TV show about drinking that's fun. There've been shows about drinks that were informative, but like one where it's me, so it's going to be fun. I can't be serious, I don't. If you want to be serious, don't hire me. So I knew the production company was going to be into my personality. We shot a pilot, which they liked, and so they wanted that same energy. And so I was trying to figure out how to make 3 sheets into a drinking game, and I just couldn't figure it out. And then I'm walking through the airport, and I see this little stuffed monkey on a shelf. And I was like, I'm going to hide this monkey in every scene, and whoever at home sees the monkey first gets to make their friend drink. And so I started doing it. Of course, Mike Kelly, the director, he's like, what are you doing? And I told him, he's like, oh, I love that, but I'm not going to risk my job on this and do this without telling the network. I'm going to have to tell the network. So, let me just do it and see how it goes. So the next day, the network wanted a conference call. We're in Ireland at the time. And he goes, Mike's like, the network wants a conference call. I'm like, okay, great. So get on the call with the head of the network and a bunch of lawyers, me and Mike on the other end. And they're like, tell us about this drinking game. And I tell them, he goes, look, we love it. We want more of it. And I was like, oh, I thought you guys were about to shut me down. He's like, no, this is the best idea for this show. This is amazing. Let's do it. And he goes, this monkey, I love it. What's the monkey's name? I didn't have a name. And so I was like, Pleplius? I just literally came out, it spilled out of my mouth. I think I knew when I said it, I wanted something that was unique enough that I could get the .com. That's what was in my head. And so I go, Pleplius? He goes, people, Purpleus? Like, Pleplius. And by the way, it's the worst name because no one ever remembers it. But people who know it know it. It was, even for you, it's like people never remember how to say it. Pleus. And so, so then that became like a staple. It was hidden, but then people love that subculture where they can say to their friends, hey, come watch this show and then tell me when you see the monkey. It's just the weirdest thing. It's weird. Like me, I found something that suited my odd personality. So I'd hide the monkey in the show, and then the first person to see the monkey drinks. And so you can see him hiding behind us in this in this meeting. And so, yeah, that was it. And then, that was 2006, right? So what is that? 17 years ago, and people are
19,
still talking about it. 19,
19 years.
well,
It's
18.
2000. It's 2025.
When did that happen? Whoa, you're right. You're right. What? It's 2025. When did that happen? Yeah, I mean, I would say that at my shows, every single show, someone has a Polyplius tattoo. You know,
Wow.
I had a girl at a show, Lizette. Her name was Lizette, and her husband was Jason. And as a show I was at 3 days ago in Boulder City, Nevada, and she said, "Oh, she came to the show in Vegas the day before, and she said, will you? Here's a Sharpie. Will you autograph my thigh?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I'm gonna get it tattooed." I go, "Okay, I love it." That's happened about a dozen times, if not maybe a little bit more. And so I'm honored by it, but I'm not as surprised as I was the first time it happened. And so she shows up the next show with my cheers and my signature on her leg forever. So, and I take a lot of responsibility in that too, in the brand of everything, and making, like, when she came back, I gave her VIP tickets. I gave her my set list from the show. I gave her the Polyplius that I had been hiding in the show for the last year. And I go, "I want this to be a special day for you." And she was like, kind of overcome. She, a little bit of tears. She was really, really happy. And that's it, So it's really, I found my niche, and I'm lucky that it revolves around being fun.
Well, no, you're doing the comedy tour, as you said. How do you think you've grown over the years as a stand-up? And are you still writing the same way? Because, I was away from stage for a long time. I'm back on stage now, and I just have a
Oh, you
completely
are? Oh,
different.
that's awesome. I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
I did City Winery. I run a room. I have a comedy room I
Okay.
run once a month. And I've changed to where before I was always worried, you had to have a great set because you wanted to get, you wanted to constantly work. Now I just have fun. And I sit there and I talk. I'm just more open. I don't worry about the one-liners or whatever. How has your act developed over the years? Because once again, you're under the shotgun because you always want to get a new hour, and you're doing that for your fans, which is great. But do you think, how much stronger have you gotten with such a tight schedule of shows? Because you're doing 130, 140 shows a year, and yet, but you have to deliver because people come to see you deliver.
I mean, you kind of nailed it. I have the opportunity to go up there so much that what I'll do is, when I'm getting ready for a new hour. So let's say I perform, like on April 2nd, right? And then I have a show on April 5th, or I have a show on April 5, 6, 7, 8, right? I'll go and take what we'll call 100%, right? Like, let's just pretend that my set list is 10 items. I'll go and I'll pull out one and put in something new. I know that the whole set works. I know that it works very well. None of these are so like down. It'd be impossible for me to ruin them. And so then I put my new material right in the middle, and if it works, then it stays. If it doesn't work, then I go, all right, I guess that joke doesn't stay, and everyone laughs. Like, you can't lose doing it that way. So then on the next run, I'll remove another. Now I'm 20% new. The next run, another. So, like, really, probably 3 months after I record, I'm like 80 to 90% new stuff. And then I'll cycle in better things, improve things. Just because you hear it on the road doesn't mean it's going to make it to the special. But it's really like a mindset kind of thing, a confidence, not even an arrogance, not a cockiness at all. The complete opposite of that. It's this confidence, where I command everyone's attention just because I'm so confident in my set. And I'm so comfortable up there, and I know that it's my job to have fun. So you, like I said, you nailed it. I'm up there and I'm having fun. If I'm having fun, the audience is having fun. That's it. But it's not just like, go up there and it's not all willy nilly. I'm just going to go up there and talk about whatever I want to talk about. No, it's very specific. I know what I'm doing. It might seem like it's off the cuff, but as soon as it goes, and strays, I know exactly where to pull it back to. So it's solid. And I'm doing more crowd work nowadays. I would say probably 20%. But I might even do some crowd stuff in the middle of a set, in the middle of like a good bit or something like that. If someone, if something happens, and I'm kind of prepared for that. Whereas before it was like I didn't like to be interrupted. Now it's like, no, this is what people want. People like this. People have fun. It's not my night. It's their night. You know what I mean? I'm entertaining them. And if they are rowdy, then okay, maybe it goes in a slightly different direction. I still have to rein it in, right? I still have to kind of keep, if there's somebody who keeps interrupting or something like that, but it's not like people are going to get kicked out, like that just hasn't happened in a very long time, because I know how to deal with that person. I know how to kind of wind them down and have fun with them, rather than being like, hey, you're drunk, get out of here.
Now, does the road, because you are out a lot and you have the rides, and we're not, and none of us are getting any younger. Does the grind hit you sometimes? Like how do you keep your energy? Because you have to drink each show. I mean, it's you have to.
Yeah.
So how do you keep the energy? Because I would think sometimes you just must wake up and go, holy crap! You might have an extra beer that you didn't expect to have, or it might be a 7.8 IPA instead of a 5.2 ale.
Yeah.
How do you keep it going? Like how is it affecting you physically?
When I'm on the road, here's the catch. When I'm home, my wife and I, we run an animal rescue out of our house. So we have 8 animals of our own. And then we always have fosters here. I'm doing my podcast. I always have projects fixing up stuff around the house. I have this, that, the other thing. I'm doing a million things when I'm home. When I'm on the road, I don't, my wife's not there. The animals are not there. My projects are not there. And so I'm able to compartmentalize my time differently. And, I sleep in every day. That's my agreement with myself, because that's the most important thing I can do right now. I walk, I get my 10,000 steps. I work out, maybe five times a week, 5, 6 times a week. And then I write and I edit and I do my drives. And then when I'm on stage, it's 15 minutes with the VIPs. It's an hour, maybe 50 minutes, 50, like 50 minutes for my set. And then it's after the show, taking pictures and signing stuff and hanging out at the merch table. So, I'm lucky to be doing those things. And it's not, maybe it's the way that I approach it. I also approach it very healthily, right? Like, yes, I'm on stage at a brewery. I'm going to be having a beer or two, but I'm not getting hammered. I couldn't do that. I do that every now and then if it's special. If it's my friend's brewery, if my buddies are there, or something happens, or something special event or whatever it is, like, yeah, I'll get loose. But I am cautious, or I'm conscious of that I have a job to do tomorrow and the next day as well. So, I mean,
I got one final question for you.
Yes, sir.
You've had a good career, man. You've worked. What are some of the things that you're most proud of looking back at your career? When you look back now and you go, man, what are a few things that make you the most proud?
Getting married to my wife, probably. it's not like a professional thing, but that's the thing that if I went back in time to do, that's what I would make sure that I did. Um, Everything else is like, we're comics, right? So it's not like I don't look back at my first special and go, "Oh man, that was awesome." I look back at it now and go, "That could have been better." My second special, that could have been better. My third special is new to me. I think it's my best one yet, but I'm sure in a few years I'll be like, "That could have been better." So maybe I'm proud of myself for persevering and keeping it going. If I could go back and do it all again, I would do things different. I would be doing stand up much earlier into my career, but no, I don't. I mean, it's like, yeah, I guess I'm just proud that I've been able to stick with it and keep it going. I mean, if a lot of people stop for every reason that we've talked about. And I guess consider myself lucky to still go. What am I, most proud of? I'm most proud of what I'm doing now, but I think that's always the way that it is. I think I've really hit my stride as a comic, and I think it's a show. I know that it's a show because I know the audience reaction. I know that it's a show that people love. And I like to be able to do it. If I could go back and do TV again, it would have to be the right conditions. I just don't know. I mean, I feel like what I'm doing is really what I'm supposed to be doing right now, as opposed to, when Three Sheets was canceled, I'm like, that was an amazing 4 seasons. I need to keep that going. And so I was always trying to get another show like that going. Whereas doing stand up, I'm writing the script to my own future. I'm in charge of my destiny. Whereas with TV shows, you're at the whim of a lot of other people, a lot of other things that you don't have control over. So yeah, I'd say what I'm most proud of is right now. Right now, I'm most proud of my current set on tour and my most recent special. That's the truth.
That's awesome, Zane. I want to thank you for coming
Yeah.
on. Now, how can people find out? You have a big tour, and it's great. It's all the areas. You have this and this, and so it's all broken down in areas.
Yeah.
How can people check it
so
out?
you go to zanelamprey.com and there's a map. Find the color of your area on the map and you go look at my schedule.
So people definitely go check out Zane's show. He's very funny. It's entertaining. You're going to have fun. It's one of those comedy shows. You have fun. Go look him up on IMDb. Look at go see his old shows. Go watch his stuff. Go to my website, coopertalk.net. My other podcast, I have 1,031 episodes. Also, go on YouTube and look up the Coop Tank. The Coop Tank's my panel show. I host 3 local business people, and we talk about networking, motivation, and all those things. That comes out every week. Also, don't forget Jimmy Corhan and Comedy Trainwreck. Jimmy produces the show. They have a bunch of great shows, a bunch of Philly comics, Ed McGonigal, John Kensel, Coleman Green. They all have shows on there. And don't forget, if you're in Maple Shade, go to Route 73 Splits in Laurel Lanes. They're my sponsor. They're great people. You might see me there sometimes. I go down and I have a Rolling Rock or a Yingling. So anyway, I want to thank you for listening, watching, and I will talk to you all next time.
Coop's Comedy Corner.